more expensive jewellery.
Thank you very much.
As Sean takes the stairs.
Good afternoon, I'm Mike Amor. We've just learned the jury has reached a verdict in the Mushroom Cook murder trial.
Hello, I'm Linton Besser and welcome to Mushroom Watch. Because we opened tonight, as you might have predicted we would, with the case that has turned into a cult-like obsession and the verdict millions across the globe were waiting for.
We've got two reporters inside the courtroom as we speak who are going to text me the verdicts. Guilty to attempted murder of Ian Wilkinson, guilty of the murder of Heather Wilkinson, guilty of the murder of Gail Patterson and guilty of the murder of Don Patterson.
First to broadcast the verdict last Monday was not either of the dedicated news channels, Sky and the ABC, but channels 7, 9 and 10, before they shifted into rolling and somewhat intense coverage.
What do you think she would want to say to the families, to her extended family that have lost their lives?
I could just get to my car, guys. That would be really good now. Thank you.
Come on, guys, enough now.
The overseas networks weren't far behind, with CNN and the BBC among the very many which brought the mushroom murders into lounge rooms across the world, with viewers in France, of course, being assured wild mushrooms can still be safe to eat.
With the proper knowledge, mushroom hunting is a magical thing.
Online, Evil Erin and her mushroom murder knocked just about everything else off the top of news sites across the nation. Back on 7, after 186 minutes of rolling coverage through the afternoon, it published an extended package in its venerable 6 p.m. news bulletin. As many as 17 minutes on the mushroom plot before, later that evening, the mushroom murder trial, justice served. An hour-long news special hosted by Michael Usher. 9 News took a similar approach. Its journos digging deep for something, anything, to fill 75 minutes of non-stop coverage.
Did you ever speak to Erin herself? No.
Before bringing us Murder by Mushroom and a camera attached to a fork.
Inside the trial.
Guilty on all charges.
Of the world's most infamous feast.
Auntie jumped on the bandwagon too. Hours of live coverage on its news channel, as many as 8 minutes in its 7 p.m. bulletins, and a wrap of the verdict on its nightly current affairs program, 7:30. The following day, the newspapers let loose, serving up the headlines they'd had in the oven for weeks.
Killer in the kitchen.
Death cap stare.
Fungi fatale. Cooked.
The Age dedicated its first 7 pages to coverage of the guilty verdict, while the Herald Sun's 12-page special wrap concluded with a plug for its must-watch doco and hit podcast series, which has had, just a little competition.
The Mushroom Cook.
Mushroom Case Daily.
The Mushroom Trial.
Say Grace. Mushroom Murder Trial.
The Death Cap Murders.
The Trial of Erin Patterson.
But wait, there's more. More television specials, more docos, more books.
Recipe for
Murder.
And of course, Toxic, Auntie's newest scripted drama. The guilty verdict was only the dramatic final scene of what has been the biggest press bonanza in living memory, as a veritable legion of journalists and documentary makers, presenters and podcasters descended on the regional Victorian town of Morwell. The Victorian Supreme Court was issuing daily alerts and information to no fewer than 252 separate email addresses during the case, including for 15 overseas outlets, 9 authors and 7 documentary crews, while accrediting for the case's audio stream 190 individual journalists. For some, it was an arduous and charged 9-week assignment, which one reporter discovered would change the course of his life.
The grind and my absence had made my partner of 24 years come to realise she no longer needed me in her life. I was discarded like yesterday's newspaper, perhaps the last sad victim of Erin Patterson.
The media hordes provided the town of Morwell a wonderful bump in local coffee and, no doubt, beer sales, but also the occasional snafu, like when a clutch of journos, police and prosecutors were briefly accommodated in the same country hotel as, would you believe it, the jury.
In shambolic scenes, people were hiding in doorways to avoid contact and skipping breakfast, and residents forced to move rooms to avoid disturbing jury members.
Or, more gravely, when some overexcited members of the media grappled a little clumsily with that most antiquated tenet of criminal justice, a fair trial. Last week, the Victorian Supreme Court said it was
concerning to see some media outlets, commentators and individuals on social media purporting to cover the case and have updates on the hearing, despite having no direct contact with the trial and no understanding of their legal responsibilities.
At the apex of those responsibilities is to not publish anything which hasn't been put before the jury or which presupposes a defendant's guilt, a potential criminal offence known by the Latin term sub judice, or contempt of court. And in this hotly reported trial, its functionaries were indeed watching closely.
16 directions to remove content were sent, including 4 against individuals on social media, mostly for breaches of sub judice.
With nearly every major media house flying close to the sun, including Melbourne's 2 metro newspapers, which printed photographs so close to the trial's commencement of Patterson in custody. The Herald Sun's daily blog published the name of Erin Patterson's child, a breach of a suppression order, a similar bungle also made by online publication Crikey and ABC podcast Mushroom Case Daily, which we have bleeped.
We've heard stories from her children that night and the following day about how she visited the bathroom, but she also drove out to a flying lesson.
Network 10 also received a rap over the knuckles for allowing this clanger to go to air.
It followed another day of damning evidence about her mobile phone data.
No, there is no evidence in the world that's allowed to be described as damning while a jury ponders whether to send someone down, potentially, for the remainder of her natural life. One publication in hot water was the wildly popular podcast published by Mia.
So it's the premeditated, it's the planning that's being alleged that a lot of people are looking at, that they're going, oh, this is kind of so highly unusual.
An episode which drew an ominous rebuke from Justice Christopher Beale, who's still thinking about whether the podcasters should be referred to the DPP.
Whether there are proceedings against Mamma Mia for sub judice contempt is a matter I will consider at a more convenient time.
Mamma Mia was one of 2 outlets put on notice by the court, the other being our most hallowed broadcasters, Kyle and Jackie O.
Erin Patterson denies deliberately poisoning her family.
Getting around this big lump.
Like, does it...
Should do it or not?
What does the evidence point to?
I think we have to wait for the jury to make a decision.
Okay, my question is, how strong is her case?
Not strong.
Not strong?
Not strong for her.
With their trademark expertise, the great minds at Kiss FM flouted every rule in the book. The radio show's official censor finally catching up.
But the rest of us already know. Yeah, you... Come on, bro. You can stop by looking at it.
Kyle,
Lock that bitch up.
wait until it's done. No.
It takes too long.
Well, until it's your turn one day where you're accused.
Yeah, and what am I going to get accused of?
Kyle, I'm glad you asked.
I will be referring this morning's matter to the Office of Public Prosecutions for contempt proceedings.
In sending off to prosecutors Kyle and Jackie O's most clever on-air contributions, Justice Beale offered a piece of advice for all.
I encourage all commentators to engage their brains before they open their mouths.
The last time media houses grappled with the need for this kind of self-discipline was the prosecution of Cardinal George Pell, where the media eventually pleaded guilty to breaching suppression orders and forked out more than $1 million in fines. But at least the media's obsession with the ultimately unsuccessful case against George Pell for child sex abuse was grounded in significant public interest, his church having covered up a wave of crimes against children across the world. Erin Patterson's sordid case, the treacherous, premeditated murder of 3 elderly relatives, may have had its own public interest justification, but it was never going to shine a light on abuses of power or institutional failings. Rather, this was a case in which the media had lit upon the ultimate gold seam, mining a rapacious appetite for true crime bazaar. Imagine for a moment what might be done for the world should the press devote such resources to a misery which could actually be fixed. Multinationals dodging tax, political donations corrupting Parliament, or, dare I say it, deaths in custody. And now, from toxic mushrooms to French fries and some fast food fun on Nines today.
It's National Fry Day, F-R-Y.
Very good, very good.
Yes, television's most seasoned news professionals turning a forensic eye to the real dilemma facing Australians. Where to for hot chips?
Those Gushman ones are the best.
Carl, though, ever the company man, knew right from the start on which side today was buttered. Or is that battered?
Trust me, I know my chips.
Do you?
I know my fries.
Okay. But do you know how big a sponsor McDonald's is of our show?
And there was something of a theme during Carl's blind taste test. See if you can pick it.
It's a bigger chip, so it's not McDonald's. McDonald's.
I bet you he'll say McDonald's for this one as well.
There you go. Yeah, it's great. There you go. No, that's McDonald's.
Carl Stefanovic wasted on the small screen. And don't fret, his hungry crew weren't overlooked either, with salt and sugar and fat for all. In the biz, they call this colour and movement, and for better or worse, the red and canary yellow is something of a perennial on today, because just a week earlier...
Dicky, bastard.
Look, we do have a bit of Macca's in front of us right now, which is very distracting.
Carl Stefanovic and Jane Azzopardi could barely rouse themselves from the joy of the moment to conduct the very serious business of television news, crossing live to none other than the new boss of McDonald's, whose company had just lost a landmark industrial relations ruling.
And we'll reflect on that and make some reactions and decisions shortly.
When will you do that?
Over the coming weeks.
Golden arches on his lapel, the chief executive was then offered a chance to wax lyrical on a menu price freeze before deftly batting away a question from Jane on whether healthy items might see a price drop too. Then, with that out of the way, it was on to the business at hand.
For me, I'm just going the regular, the Big Mac, and I put the fries in the middle of it.
I'm the same way, Carl. I recommend trying the new McWings. They're fantastic.
I love them.
I saw an ad for those the other day. McDonald's doing chicken wings.
Do you know what? You know what? McDonald's does it better than the Dirty Bird.
In 2020, Media Watch pulled up Nine's breakfast news show for eerily similar programming.
I've organised a little bit of a peace offering
Girls
for you
are
guys. It's as easy as that, I tell you. Chicken parmy.
Oh, really emotional. So I got to tell you, this is the best burger I've ever had. That is a great burger.
The Australian Communications and Media Authority subsequently found Nine had breached the Commercial Television Industry Code of Practice for failing to tell its viewers that it had disguised as genuine editorial what was, of course, a paid-up ad. Last week, we asked Nine whether Today or anyone on the show had any kind of commercial arrangement with McDonald's at the time these recent segments went to air. A spokesperson told us...
There is no commercial arrangement between the Today Show, its hosts and McDonald's is not a sponsor of the program. Nine takes its compliance obligations very seriously and there is no breach of the Code of Practice.
Which means, of course, Today has been happily subsidising the marketing budget of one of the world's largest fast food chains for months and months.
You mean the McDonald's cheeseburger?
Yes.
Because they're wonderful.
And some nuggets, please.
A little hash brown in the morning, there you go.
That'll go well with my Macca's run.
Yeah, it will.
They're arriving in about 5 minutes.
Congratulations on this big achievement.
Talk me through this new Happy Meal collaboration with the AFL. It's my favourite meal, by the way.
Even piling up the Big Macs on set when the segment is about another burger altogether. Last week, I sent a few of these clips to Today's inaugural host, Steve Liebman, who fronted the program for almost 20 years, and asked him what he thought.
How times have changed.
Indeed. Because these days, what are viewers to make of Carl's jokey declaration of a McDonald's sponsorship, but Nine's insistence it receives not a nickel in return for Today's routine of generous treatment of the junk food brand? It's hard to judge what's worse, actually integrating ads into your editorial programming and being caught out by the regulator, or failing to realise you may as well cash in on what looks to the rest of us like promos galore. And that's all from us tonight. Be sure to check us out on ABC iView as well as X, YouTube and Facebook. You can find full statements on our website. And don't forget to send us your tips. I'll see you next week.